just over a second and a half behind McQuiggan. McQuiggan and Matt Lee go almost nose to tail down the front stretch. McQuiggan going to try to look to the inside of Lee as they work their way through turn 1. Give Lee the advantage that they work their way into turn 2. We'll see if he can clear him off of turn 2. He does try to slide jump. Oh, it gets him in the wall, sends Lee fanning down the backstretch to try to avoid him. Give Matt McQuiggan, or Joshua McQuiggan, a little bit of damage on the outside there. You can see a bit of that on the right front. He tries to resume battle, though, with Lee as he works his way back to the inside. They go side by side across the front stretch. McQuiggan going to try to resume the lead, take that inside line away from Matt Lee as they work their way through turn number 2. We'll see if he can try to pull the maneuver again, clear him this time on the backstretch. Lee gets a good run on the outside of him, though, down the backstretch. He's able to clear him going into turn number 3. Both drivers take the higher line, working their way down to the bottom. McQuiggan trying to hold that middle line a little bit, see if he can try to get a run. Matt Lee, though, able to hold a car length advantage as they work their way down the front stretch into turn number 1. McQuiggan works to the inside again. He's continuing to try to work this maneuver, the low side off of turn number 2. Matt Lee's just able to get a good run down the backstretch, carry that momentum from the high line as they work their way side by side through the middle of 3 and 4. We'll see who gets the advantage down the front stretch. Matt Lee gets a good run that time. McQuiggan looks like he might have gotten slightly loose going into the front quad oval. Allows Matt Lee to pull off about a quarter of a second lead. We'll see if Joshua McQuiggan can try to get a bit of a draft. These two really haven't been able to separate from Art Greco too much. That gap has stayed right around 1.6 seconds. And it's another 3.5 seconds back to the 15 of James Wirtz-Sema. So front two are trying to battle each other. Then it's stretched out a little bit for third and fourth. Kind of thought we might see this with a smaller field, but they are certainly putting on a great battle up front. Drivers continue to work their way nose to tail down the back stretch as they go into turn number 3 and 4. You can see Matt Lee's extending this lead out to just under a half second now. I think he's trying to pull away, see if he can build a little bit of a cushion, not have too much to contend with Joshua McQuiggan. See what he's able to do as he works his way down the back stretch. Trying to get into a green flag run now here, starting to click off a few more laps. Great battle here though up front. McQuiggan trying to close the gap back down. It's just under half of a second now. We're pulling away ever so slightly, extended about a tenth and a half from the 72 of Art Greco, who is running in third. You can see he's about 2.25 seconds back from Matt Lee. McElroy seems to be a bit off the pace. He's currently being scored 2 laps down, and we have both the 3 of David Stryker and the 19 of Brandon Pritchard being scored 1 lap down. Those two are running about 2 seconds apart on track for 6 and 7. We have 8 cars on track. 8 cars did take the green flag. Matt Lee able to extend his lead out about a tenth faster the last time by compared to McQuiggan this time by those two. It's about a 0.2 difference between the two. McQuiggan trying to run the high line through 1 and 2, see if he can try to cut down anything on the 04 of Matt Lee. Art Greco trying to work his way back, see if he can get any closer to the 24 of Joshua McQuiggan. Go back through the field as Lee comes across to start lap 25 of 100. So Matt Lee, the 04, is your scored race leader at this time. You can see Joshua McQuiggan in the 24 Exalta Chevrolet being scored as your second place runner currently. Got back the 72 of Art Greco, the Chevrolet. He is currently running in third. Got James Wirtzema. He is currently being scored in fourth place in your 15 Chevrolet. Just ahead of him on track is the 19 of Brandon Richard, who is being scored in seventh. David Smith in the 4 on the transponder, but the 22 Pennzoil Ford on track is being scored in fifth place. Back in sixth place is the 3 of David Stryker. He is in the Colorectal Cancer Alliance Ford Mustang. Again, the 19 of Brandon Richard in the Colorectal Alliance Cancer Chevrolet Camaro being scored in seventh, and Michael McElroy in the Dynaco number 2 Ford Mustang being scored as your 8th place runner on track, 2 laps down right now. Go back to the 04 Matt Lee as he works his way into turn number 3 and 4 on lap 27. Doing a great job out there. Kind of fended off those charges from the 24 of Joshua McQuiggan. Able to stretch that gap out now. He's worked that up to just over 1.6 seconds as he works his way off of turn number 2 onto the backstretch. See if these drivers want to start backing the pace down a little bit, try to conserve some tires and fuel. See if they can stretch their way through, or if they want to push it as hard as they possibly can and get all the progress out of it that they can. Let you follow the 04 as we've got a bit of a problem. Looks like second place Joshua McQuiggan might have had a bit of an issue there, so let's take a look at a replay and see what happened to him. Looks like as he's coming off of turn number 4, just gonna get it a little bit loose, it looks like, maybe a little bit too much throttle. You can see the car kick to the right, so we chase the wheel to the right, overcorrects a little bit, that sends him back around. He's gonna go sliding, gonna tag the outside wall with both the right front and the right rear. As he works his way down the front stretch, he's going to cross the stripe, gets it going back in the right direction. Let's see if he can save it or if he's going to continue to go around. You can see the 72 of Art Greco getting by him on the inside without any problem. Looks like he's going to come to a stop just on the outside of the second dog leg in the quad oval, and that's what was going to bring out the caution, with him still being close to the racing line. So we are working our third caution for the event. Don't look like he received too much damage, didn't have any other contact with any other cars on track, so moves him back to 5th place, but not too bad. You're going to see everybody coming to pit road, I would imagine now, this being working 30 laps completed in the event so far. Let these drivers complete these green flag stops, cycle out. You can see on track Stryker getting the wave around, getting his lap back, now coming to pit road. So we get back to Matt Lee, who should cycle back out to the lead. So he's got the 2 of Michael McElroy just in front of him, as well as the 24 Quiggin right behind him. You also got the 19 of Brandon Richard just in front of him. Let the field get sorted out as they work their way. And to see the wave around should start happening relatively soon, so they work their way for a third caution on lap 32 of 100. Again, tonight's race is part of the Colorectal Awareness Month. This is presented by StykerRacing and iRacing Events League, raising awareness for the Colorectal Cancer Alliance. Again, link in the description box to the website where you can donate to the cause. We'd love to see as many donations come through as possible. That would certainly help the cause, and that would be greatly appreciated. We appreciate all the help that can be contributed. Any dollar will go to a great and worthy cause. Hope that we can fight off this horrible, horrible disease. Drivers a chance to get sorted out as they are receiving the waiver rounds. Looks like both the 19 of Brandon Richard and the 2 of Michael McElroy are going to get the waiver rounds. Should bring Richard back on the lead lap, and McElroy is going to be just 1 lap down. So we'll have 7 cars on the lead lap when we go to take the restart. And 1 car 1 lap down, so you got Matt Lee in the 04 going to be restarting as your leader. The outside of him is going to be the 72 of Art Greco. James Wertzema in the 15 going to be restarting in 3rd. Outside of him should be the 4 of David Smith again. Car number 22, but transponder issues for him tonight. 24 of Joshua McQuiggan. Restarting in 5th, should see outside of him the 3 of David Stryker. Brandon Richard going to be bringing up the lead lap cars in 7th, and Michael McElroy is going to be your last car on the track, restarting at 8th in the 2. David Lee gets off and rolling as we are back under green flag conditions here to start lap number 34. Follow him, see if he can pull away. This will give Wertzema his first exposure. It's the 2nd place running car. We're going to watch him as Art Greco tries to work the draft down the back stretch, following closely behind the 15 of Wertzema. Those 2 are going to run nose to tail through the middle of 3 and 4. Art Greco taking a little bit of a higher line, running more of that mid-line. Wertzema kind of running closer to the bottom, not quite as low. He gets a little loose there on the front stretch as you see Art Greco blowing by him across the start-finish line and through the 2nd dog leg on the front stretch. So give 2nd place to Art Greco. Move James Wertzema in the 15 back to 3rd. We've got side-by-side between the 3 of Stryker and the 4 of David Smith. Joshua McQuiggan quickly working by the 4 of David Smith as well. Seems like Smith might be off pace just a little bit, because it looks like Brandon Richard might be working his way to him. See there as Richard works to the inside of Smith, tries to look to the inside as they work their way across the start-finish line. This is going to be probably your best battle on track right now. You can see Brandon Richard working to the inside as they work their way off of turn number 2. Give Brandon Richard the 6th place position as he's able to clear David Smith down the back stretch into turn number 3. Move David Smith back to 7th place. So, yeah, he's just a little bit off the pace right now. Seems to be one of the slower cars on track. Might be having a bit of an issue, but as I say that, he tries to get a little bit of a run there on the 19 of Brandon Richard as they work their way into turn number 1. He's going to take the inside line, goes almost all the way to the bottom white line in the middle of 1 and 2. Got Brandon Richard running the outside, so flip the rolls. David Smith tries to clear Brandon Richard as they work their way down the back stretch, able to pull about a 2 car lengths advantage on him. He's going to set his sights on the 24 of Joshua McQuiggan, see what he can do there. Oh, and he has a big issue. Cuts it way off the track, goes through the infield grass, trying to hold on to it. Is he going to keep it straight? He does keep it straight, gets it rolling, so no caution yet. We're going to move back up. We've got David Stryker in the 3 running in 3rd. You can see lurking behind him in 4th is the 15 of James Wertzema. Those two are separated by about 6/10 on track as Stryker works his way through the middle line, turn 3 and 4. James Wertzema taking a little bit of a lower line just behind him. Stryker trying to get into a little bit of a rhythm, see if he can close down to the 72 of Art Greco. Greco currently 1.1 seconds, 1.2 seconds ahead of Stryker as they work their way onto the backstretch. You can see Wertzema trying to close back up, see if he can work his way. Oh, he's got a little bit of a connection issue there. You saw him disappear momentarily from the track. It's an issue that drivers can have sometimes if there's a lapse in their internet connection. Racing's not quite sure where to place them on the track, and you'll see them momentarily disappear, come back in. We call that blinking. Too many times that can happen, and the drivers can be removed from the race. Wertzema trying to work his way back up and recover from those connection issues. See what he's able to do. He's currently just under 6/10 of a second back behind the 3 of Stryker, who is in the Colorectal Cancer Awareness Ford Mustang. Looks like Joshua McQuiggan might be coming to pit. A little bit of an issue. Brandon Richard was able to work by him, so see if we can follow up. Might have been a bit of an unexpected stop. Pan back up here, as you can see Art Greco leading these 3 cars for 2nd through 4th. We're all separated by about 8/10, so see if Stryker and Wertzema are able to work at all on these two. See if they can close up. We pan back to Stryker as he works his way into turn number 1. Take a little bit of lower line, not quite down to the bottom white line, but working his way underneath the, right around the first seam there. You can see he's extending his gap ahead of Wertzema just a little bit, just under 1.2 seconds now, maintaining about the same gap to Art Greco. Matt Lee is the class of the field, though, trying to pull away from everybody else. He's got about a 2.5 second, just under 2.5 second lead over the 72 of Art Greco last time by 3/4 of a second faster, or excuse me, 3/4 of a tenth of a second. And he's certainly trying to hope this goes green, see if he can work that pit strategy. Only drivers that did not stop under that last caution are the 19 of Brandon Richard being scored in 5th, as well as the 2 of Michael McElroy being scored in 6th, with the issues to both David Smith in the 4 and the 24 of Joshua McQuiggan. McElroy able to move himself up a couple of spots. Still being scored 1 lap down, but now up to 6th. Restarted from the last caution in 8th place. Take a look and see what happened to David Smith. He is currently in the pit road receiving repairs. Let's take a look and see what happened. He's running by himself here in the middle of turn number, I believe this is going to be turn number 4. He's going to work his way off. See if he gets loose like we've seen a couple drivers do. Yeah, you can already see that rear end starting to kick out. He's trying to chase it down the track to save it. And again, the same thing, just overcorrects. Car kicks all the way back to the right-hand side and is heading nose first for the outside retaining wall. Ooh, big shot there. Nose first into the outside retaining wall. Takes a little bit of right rear damage as well out of that. So that was certainly going to leave him with some extensive repairs. That's what puts him on pit road. Stryker closing his way down to Art Greco. He's got that gap cut down to 1/2 of a second. He's also extended his gap over the 15 of Wertzema to just under 2.5 seconds. So best battle on track right now is going to be between the 72 of Art Greco and the 3 of David Stryker, on track for 2nd and 3rd. Matt Lee extending his gap to just under 3 seconds now over the 72 of Art Greco. We're going to follow Greco and Stryker as they work their way through turn number 1. You can see Greco running the high line around that 2nd seam. Stryker working the bottom line as they work their way out of turn number 2 onto the back stretch. Looks like a bit of an issue for Brandon Richard as well. He was on pit road for an extended period of time. Unplanned stop, I would assume. Follow up and see if we can find out any information on that. Drivers are working lap 48 of 100, so we're approaching the halfway mark for this event. Again, we thank you all for tuning in. Your support is greatly appreciated. Link for any donations that you would like to make to the Colorectal Cancer Alliance is provided for you in the description box. We appreciate any help that you all can provide, as it is a very worthy cause. We appreciate all the drivers turning out tonight for this, as well as all of the fans that are tuned in right now. Stryker is definitely working his way up to the back of Art Greco. He's got that gap down to just a quarter of a second. We may have a bit of an issue with lap cars. We'll see what kind of effect that provides there. They're about a quarter of a track or so away from approaching slower traffic. As you can see, Stryker really closing that gap down, gets a great run as he works down the backstretch into turn number 3. Greco taking the high line up against the wall through the middle of 3 and 4. Stryker working his way down to the inside. Going to clear him off of turn number 4 down the front stretch to put Art Greco in the 72 back to 3rd, move David Stryker in the 3 up to 2nd. See if Stryker can try to close up at all on Matt Lee, although the last time by he was about 3.5 tenths off of Matt Lee's last lap time, so certainly going to see what he's able to do, if he's able to cut that gap down at all. Matt Lee cruising though to a 4 1/4 second lead as he works his way around turn number 1, lap 52 of 100. I expect to see these drivers on pit road most likely once more. We don't have any more cautions, but we'll just have to see how it pans out. As you can see, about a full straightaway lead for Matt Lee over David Stryker. It's the gap. Last time by, Matt Lee was about 3 tenths faster than David Stryker, so the Stryker clearing Art Greco does not appear that he's able to pick up any time at all on Matt Lee. Stryker's still about 3 tenths of a second off that last time by, a 32.25 seconds to 32.57. So Matt Lee basically taking control of this field, just extending it. I think he might be trying to put it in cruise control and see if he can take his way home. There are going to be payouts for the top finishing drivers. Payouts have been adjusted slightly due to the smaller field, but should still be great reward for these drivers for putting in a good day's effort. You can see Stryker trying to work his way, extending his gap ahead of the 72 of Art Greco. Wurtsema now trying to close down on Greco. Stryker and Wurtsema running very similar lap times, so that's going to put Greco in a bit of a sandwich. You can see the 19 of Brandon Richard was the car that's having a bit of an issue there on the infield as they work their way across the start and finish line. Keeps it going in the right direction though, able to keep us under green. Take a look at the 72 of Art Greco. As you can see, Wurtsema in the 15 is working his way closer and closer. Last time by a quarter of a second faster than Art Greco. Closing that gap down, it's now down to 4 tenths of a second. Got the 2 of Michael McElroy on pit road. Looks like it might be. So that was an unplanned stop. But you can see the 15 of James Wurtsema could have getting to have a little bit of a problem there off of turn number 2 down the backstretch. Had to chase the car down the backstretch there towards the bottom white line that allows Art Greco to extend his gap back up to 6.5 tenths over Wurtsima. See if that allows Greco to relieve himself of some of that pressure and see if he can start clicking off some better laps to try to close back down on the 3 of Stryker. See if he can resume his battle for second place, put himself back up there. You can see Stryker having a bit of an issue as well down the backstretch. He was a little bit out of sorts there, kind of chasing the car back and forth. Seems like these drivers are definitely putting these things on edge, and as the tires wear out, they may be getting a little slick. Virtual Atlanta is known for wearing tires as well, so this may be something that these drivers are experiencing. Wurtsima with a big move into turn number 1, dives past the 72 of Art Greco, pulls side by side with the 3 of David Stryker. He's going to try to get 2 for 1 through 1 and 2 there. Stryker's going to get a little bit of a better run down the backstretch as he takes the high line into turn number 3. Wurtsima on the bottom lane in the 15 Chevrolet. Art Greco watching these two behind, hoping maybe something will happen between the two of them and he can take advantage of that as he sits right now in 4th place on track. Stryker able to fend off that advance from Wurtsima momentarily, but I'm sure Wurtsima's trying to line up another advance, see if he can get another big run. Try to dive into the corners, get all he can out of it. You can see Stryker continually coming kind of high off the track, having to chase the car down the backstretch and then working his way back up to set up that entry into turn number 3. I think the car might be a bit tight. He might be putting a bit more wheel than he would like to in it, and that's kind of causing, as the car slides, once it gets out of the corner and those front tires start to grip again with all that left wheel that he's got input in it, that's when he starts to have it kind of chase its way down the track. You can see that time out of turn 2 down the backstretch, much smoother, able to maintain that line just above that second seam there as he works his way down the backstretch. This battling back here, though, has allowed Matt Lee to extend his gap up to about 8.5 seconds on the 3 of David Stryker, so give him about a quarter of a lap lead over the rest of the field. Wurtsima going to try the inside line again as they work their way through turn number 2. Stryker going to see if he can get a run off of turn number 2 on the high side as they work their way down the backstretch side by side with Art Greco lurking just behind on the high side there in 4th place in the 72 Chevrolet. Stryker again running that middle lane through turn 3 and 4. Wurtsima committing to the bottom side. He's going to try to get a bit of a run. He blinks there. You see him reappear. Stryker gets a little bit of a better run down the front stretch. We'll see if they're going to go nose to tail again. Stryker working now the middle lane that he had the last lap. Wurtsima comes up the middle lane. I think he's trying to get a bit of a draft off of Stryker to try to get a toe. We'll see if he looks to pull inside of him as they go down the backstretch into turn number 3. Does look a little bit lower, but not quite there to dive underneath of Stryker, so he works his way behind him. About a car length and a half separates those two, and about 3 car lengths separates the 15 of Wurtsima and the 72 of Art Greco as they cross their way on the front stretch, entering turn 1 again. Seems like these drivers are able to kind of time some runs, use the draft to their advantage, close up to the car in front, pull side by side with them, but it's just pretty tough to be able to complete a pass and try to clear the driver. So we'll see if they continue to try to work alternative lines if Wurtsima wants to take a little bit of a break, conserve his tires, set up a later run, move on. Stryker looks like he's going to go back to the inside line again, works his way underneath 3 of Stryker. Stryker getting a little bit of a better run this time on the backstretch, keeps that car stabilized. You can see it kind of forces Wurtsima to close up behind Stryker, run nose to tail. I think he also might be doing that as a bit of a defensive effort to try to prevent Greco from pulling up behind him and possibly preventing him from getting that outside line draft with Stryker. Stryker leads Wurtsima into turn number 1 by a tenth, or about a car length or so. Wurtsima this time tries to look to the high side, see if he can try to get a run off of the corner and try to pull a bit of a crossover going underneath Stryker. He's just trying as many alternative lines as he can, see if he can try to find one that sticks. This is currently your best battle on track, so we're going to stick with these three here. Matt Lee continuing to extend his gap. He's running about 3/10 faster than these three, so just continuing to add to that lead every lap. He's now just under 10.25 seconds on track. Wurtzima going back to the inside line. Seems to be a bit more comfortable with that. Blinks a little bit there, puts him back on the inside line as they work their way down the backstretch. Just cannot get the run down the backstretch, though, to be able to get to the inside of Stryker and complete the pass through 3 and 4. Runs about half a car length off the tail of Stryker as he works his way on the white line, comes out. You can see Greco trying to close his way up to just use the draft as much to his advantage as he can, but having a bit of a tougher time getting to the back of Wurtzima. Wurtzima seems to be putting a good charge to the back of David Stryker, but just not able to get that run off the corners. They work their way down the backstretch on lap 67 of 100. We are going to be just over a 2/3 of the way through this event. Drivers have been able to stretch it out a little bit and get a bit more of a green flag run in here, try to provide some exciting on-track action for all you fans. And again, we thank all of those tuned in to this event. This is the StykerRacing Colorectal Cancer Alliance charity event presented by StykerRacing and iRacing Events League, raising awareness for colorectal cancer for the month of March. We thank all of you for coming out, and anybody that's been able to make a donation through the description, the link in the description box. We thank you so much for your support. Wurtzima makes a big dive, tries to get to the inside of Stryker, gets a big lead this time through turn number 2. Finally able to get the job done, clear him out of the backstretch. You can see Stryker a little bit loose there as he works his way down the backstretch. We'll see if that allows Art Greco to try to close up to him. Wurtzima's going to try to extend his lead over Stryker now that he's finally able to clear him. Persistence seems to have paid off. Art Greco bails out of this as he heads to pit lane. Looks like Brandon Richard in the 19 has another issue on, I believe it's on the front stretch. We'll take a look, see if we can dial up a replay here in a minute for you. I think you might be seeing some of those guys have a little bit of a difference in pit strategy for what they decide to do at this point. Again, I don't think these drivers should be able to run all the way green on the last stop at lap 30 under the caution, but could be wrong about that. We'll have to see what they end up doing. And you can see Wurtzima again with that little bit of a blink. That's why I kind of paused there for a minute. So Stryker also peeled off to pit road. So you're going to leave just right now Matt Lee, Wurtzima, and just those two are actually going to be your only two on the lead lap right now. Matt Lee's still the lead. Looks like Wurtzima also peels off to pit road. So we'll see how long Matt Lee wants to stay out on this set of tires and fuel. See what he decides to do, if he starts thinking about coming soon now with everybody else coming in, or if he's going to try to stretch this as long as possible. Maybe hope for a caution, see if he can trap the field lap down in. Just as I say that, looks like he is working his way into the pit lane. A little brake lock up there, but nothing too major. Go back to the 72 of Art Greco. He's going to be your lead car on track. Scored in third right now, but your front running car on the track as we work our way 70, lap 73. We've got just 28 laps to go in this event. Wurtzima now working his way off of pit road, working his way on the apron through 1 and 2. You can see Art Greco going by him. It's going to move Greco up to second place. Wurtzima in the background rejoining the racing action on the backstretch as he moves past the blend line. Matt Lee working his way out of turn number 2 as well. There is a blue line signified by that blue cone. Drivers need to remain below the white line for the apron until they cross that blue line. prevents any drivers from drifting up into the middle of oncoming traffic in the corners and creating any kind of safety hazards or racing incidents. Let's put Matt Lee back into the lead. He's got just under a 14-second lead over the 72 of Art Greco. Art Greco working his way off of turn number 4 in second place. Give him a almost 3.5 second advantage over the 15 of James Wurtsema. You can see him working his way into the middle of turn 1 and 2 on lap 74 of 100. David Stryker back in third. He is a lap down. Yes, he is your first car 1 lap down, scored in 4th place. David Smith, after his bit of an issue, able to get himself back up to 5th place. He's currently 4 seconds behind Stryker. He is also 1 lap down. In 6th place is the 2 of Michael McElroy. Number 2 Dynaco Ford Mustang. He is your first driver, scored 2 laps down. Brandon Richard resuming his on-track action after a pit stop. He is scored as 9 laps down in 7th place. And the 24 of Joshua McQuiggan is off the track right now. Go back to Matt Lee. As you can see him working his way out of turn number 4 onto the front stretch. We've got just 24 laps to go as he works his way through 1 and 2 on lap number 77. Field's definitely gotten strung out. This last round of pit stops has separated the field quite a bit. Again, Stryker working a over 14-second advantage, so he is just over half a lap ahead of the 72 of Art Greco in 2nd place. Just been consistently laying down the fastest lap times. Only other one on track that is in the same zip code as him is the 15 of James Wurtsema. The last time by, those 2 ran identical speeds. We'll see what Wurtsema is able to do this time by. Unfortunately, though, Wurtsema is 17 seconds back. Yeah, Wurtsema was 1/10 of a second slower the last time by, so this race is in the hands of Matt Lee. Pretty much can do what he wants with it at this time. Just coming across the line to get 22 laps to go. Certainly great driving by Matt Lee today. It's been the class of the field when everybody else seemed to have had issues with controlling the cars off of turn number 2 and turn 4. He has looked like he's got this thing on rails, not having any problems out there. Go back through the field. Stryker, unexpected pit stop. Looks like he might have had some right side damage. Bit of an issue there. Go back to through the field as we've got the 72 of Art Greco working his way through turn number 1 and 2, or excuse me, 3 and 4. His way out of 3 and 4. He's got the 2 of Michael McElroy just ahead of him. Wurtsema also in the 15 with some front end damage. Looks like he's got a bit of an internal issue. Might have seen some puffs of smoke out of him possibly. Not sure if that's a bit of an internal engine issue or if he's got some tire rub possibly. Looking like that's coming from the oh yeah, as you see that big puff of smoke, that car has now expired and blown up. So see if he's able to get anything done for repairs, get him back on the track. Might have been a bit of an incident between the 3 of Stryker and the 15 of Wurtsema. So it's gonna put Matt Lee in the commanding just under 15-second lead over the 72 of Art Greco. Art Greco, the only other one on the lead lap at this time. Again, he's about half a lap, just under half a lap behind Matt Lee as he works, Greco working his way through the middle of 3 and 4. All these incidents take the 2 of Michael McElroy, move him back up to 3rd place. So some early incidents for him, but he's been able to fade all of the other on-track calamity that has been ensued, been able to keep himself clean, reset, and just continue on. And as I say that, he blinks. You see it pause momentarily, he reappears back there off of turn number 2 though. We're going to put Michael McElroy 2 laps down to Matthew Lee. David Smith in the 4s working his way across the start-finish line, move him up into 4th place. He is 3 laps down. Wirt Sema having a bit of a blinking issue there again. He is in 5th place for the moment, though, 3 laps down. We're going to go back to Matt Lee. Just 18 laps to go. He's going to have 17 to go this time by as he crosses the line. Just has this race in absolute command. No contention right now at all for him. Great job. And certainly driving one clean race out here for you today. Again, we thank all of those that are tuned in, all of those out there and watching. Trying to raise awareness for colorectal cancer, raise money for the Colorectal Cancer Alliance. And this event is being presented by StykerRacing and the iRacing Events League. And just as I say that, you see the 3 Ford Mustang of David Stryker rejoining right behind Matt Lee on track. Again, if you are able to, greatly appreciate any donations that you are able to make to the Colorectal Cancer Alliance. There is a link in the description box. Feel free to follow that. Any funds are greatly appreciated. We appreciate all of you just tuning in, spreading the word about this great event, as well as this great charity. Oh, you see Stryker having a big issue there. Slams the outside wall on the backstretch, brings him all the way down to the inside wall. Looks like that might be it for that engine. He's got the big puff of smoke. He's going to try to turn his way back around, though. See if he can limp this thing back to the pit lane. Would say this car might have been a bit tough for these drivers to handle today. We've seen a lot of drivers with issues, especially off of turn number 2, turn number 4, that just leads to issues down both the front stretch and back stretch. So this car certainly is on edge. It's kind of one of the characteristics of the now current Gen Cup cars, but what's known to many as the next Gen Cup cars. Just have a bit of a different driving style, a different feel with the change, for many factors, change in the design of the car that drivers have been having a bit of issues at times to be able to come to grips with and how to handle. So Stryker's going to work his way back onto pit road for repairs. David Lee works his way off of turn number 2 down the backstretch as he's got just 13 laps to go, working his way on lap 88 of 100, opening the gap to just under 18 seconds over Art Greco. Last time by, he was over 0.6 of a second faster than the 72 of Art Greco. McElroy still running in 3rd place in the number 2 Dynaco Ford. He is being scored as 2 laps down. David Smith in the number 4 Moneyline Pennzoil Ford Mustang being scored in 4th, 3 laps down. Stryker still being scored in 5th place after his on-track incident. He is currently on pit road receiving repairs. Should move James Wirt-Sema by him next time by as he comes across the front stretch, but Matt Lee just the class of the field. So we'll see if Stryker is able to get out and keep himself ahead of James Wirt-Sema. Richard in the 19 running on track in 7th place, and McQuiggan retired for the event, being scored 50 laps down in 8th place. We'll come back to Matt Lee. Just continuing to click off fast laps. Last time by just under half a second faster than the number 72 of Art Greco, as you get a close-up shot of Matt Lee as he works his way into turn number 1 with just 10 laps to go. We are entering the very final stages of this event. Looks like Wirt-Sema may be done for the event as well. We saw that motor blow on pit road. Those repairs sometimes, if they can even be completed, can take a very extensive amount of time. Looks like this race has been a bit of a war of attrition for these drivers out here again. Matt Lee making it seem very, very easy. Works his way out of turn number 2 onto the backstretch. Seen that car just be planted. Maybe a little bit of a wiggle, but nothing to the effect that these other drivers have having. Just putting on a clinic for these drivers today as he works his way through the middle of turn number 3 and 4. Great run by him, though. Art Greco doing a great job as well. Involved in a early on-track deal, but doing a great job overall. Follow him as he works his way into turn number 2. Again, he's 20 seconds down to Matt Lee, about 2/3 of a lap. He's trying to do what he can, hope for any kind of caution or any kind of on-track incident for Lee that may give him a shot to try to get by him. See if he can move his way into the lead, but Matt Lee's just got this race on his cruise control as he works his way out of turn number 2 again onto the back stretch. Laps are winding down. We've got just over 7 laps to go right now. Matt Lee working his way. He's been committed to that bottom line all the way through 3 and 4 as well as 1 and 2 for pretty much the entire event. 6 laps to go as he crosses his way on the front stretch. A great run by both McElroy and David Smith as well. Those two have been persevering through a bit of a deal. You can see McElroy just ahead of Matt Lee, about half a straightaway ahead. McElroy doing a great job getting himself back up to 3rd position where he started. And doing a great job just avoiding anything on track that he could. But Matt Lee has been your class of the field tonight. Again, we thank all of those that have tuned in for this event. Certainly goes to a great cause as we try to raise awareness for colorectal cancer. And this event being put on by StykerRacing and iRacing Events League. Raise awareness for colorectal cancer for the month of March. It's all funds donated through the link in the description box will go directly to the Colorectal Cancer Alliance. We appreciate any help that you are able to provide. Spreading the word as well will be greatly appreciated. Just trying to get the word out for this great charity, great cause. Always want to do as much work as we possibly can for it. We appreciate all of you that have tuned out for a great racing event. You can see Matt Lee making the pass on Michael McElroy as they work their way through 3 and 4. McElroy bringing it across the line now with just 3 laps to go. He's got this on cruise control again, consistently about half a second a lap ahead of Art Greco each time, so just extending that gap. He's got quite a bit of a cushion. Easily do whatever he needs to bring this home as safely as possible. A great race driven by him tonight. Again, small field tonight, but we have certainly seen a lot of great on-track action once they got the first couple cautions sorted out. We saw a lot of great side-by-side battles. A lot of drivers passing as hard as they possibly could. Doing all that they could. Looks like McElroy might be on pit road with a bit of an issue, so that's going to move the 4 of David Smith up to 3rd place. Move the 2 of Michael McElroy back to 2nd. Matt Lee comes across the start-finish line to bring out the white flag, so we are just 1 lap to go in this event tonight. Great race by these drivers, though. Matt Lee works his way down the backstretch for the final time, working it just up against the wall. See, looks like he deviates this time, maybe getting a little bit of a victory lap there as he's got a big lead, works his way high line out of turn number 4. He's going to bring it down the inside line of the front stretch to complete the sweep. Takes this one in grand fashion with a commanding win over the 72 of Art Greco. Great race by Matt Lee. He definitely drove that with as minimal mistakes as possible. see if we can also get the drivers into the booth here momentarily for some interviews. Try to get the top 3 in there if we can. See Matley certainly celebrating a great finish out there, doing his best to burn it down for all of the fans. Great job by him. But we are going to bring in the man of the hour, David Stryker. David, thank you for putting on a great race. Love to hear if you can speak a little bit about what this great race benefited to and the need to raise awareness for colorectal cancer.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks to everybody that came out and drove today. We're always excited to put it on. This is the second charity event we've done. We did in October a breast cancer event. Had a great turnout for that. Over 40 drivers and raised nearly $1,000 for breast cancer awareness. And both these charities are important to me. My wife is a breast cancer survivor, and me being of an older age, had my first ever colonoscopy and had a little cancer scare within that, and it really spoke just to the importance of awareness and taking care of yourselves as we get older and we're there. So as I take a look at these, I'm appreciative of all the drivers that were there participating today. Congratulations, Matt, on the win. That's fantastic. But we're just glad that we can help contribute whatever we can to such a great cause.
Well, certainly, we thank you very much for putting this event on, allowing us to be able to come out and broadcast that for you, try to get awareness out. Again, there is a link in the description box. Is there any time that the fans can go through that link and donate to the Colorectal Cancer Alliance? Any other way that they can reach out if they want to provide any kind of help as well?
Absolutely. That's a great question. You can totally donate directly through there. That will stay up for 30 days from the event date. So everybody has plenty of time to be able to do that. We appreciate any donation, $5, $10, whatever it is you can give. That's greatly appreciated. And if you want to know more or participate in one of our races in the future, feel free to look up StykerRacing on Discord, shoot me a message. Happy to chat with you and get you to be part of one in the future.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, David, for bringing this on. We're going to get a couple drivers in here for some post-race interviews and see what they had to say about this as well. But thank you so much for shedding a little bit more information for all the fans out there.
You're so welcome. And I'll drag in Matt Lee if that's good with you.
That works. All right, we have with us in the booth the number 1 finisher on track driver of the '04 Chevrolet, Matt Lee. Matt Lee, you put on a clinic out there today that was certainly one of the best drives that I have seen in quite a while. Made what seemed like a pretty difficult setup out there just look pretty easy. How did it feel on track for you tonight?
Setup was pretty tight. It was weird. It's these next gen cars are definitely tricky to drive. You don't get the feedback in the wheel like you do with the old Cup car or even the trucks or anything like that. So that was my biggest adjustment. I started kind of definitely figuring it out like halfway through the race. Only got like 20 practice laps in, so it was definitely a learning experience.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you were able to master that. Especially, we noticed a lot of drivers having issues off of both turn 2 and turn 4. Car would get a little squirrely. You seemed like you had that mastered down. Did you feel like you were making adjustments to your driving line throughout the races you learned about it with the limited practice coming in? Do you feel like you kind of just stuck with the same driving line most of the way through the event tonight?
Track like Atlanta, it seems for tire wear, it seems to usually work best at the bottom. So I tried to stay as committed to the bottom as I could. The biggest thing was just being patient on exit, and you could get wide open through the center of the corner, but you definitely had to get back out of it a little bit once you got to the exit and it started flattening out, or you'd really. That's where I think a lot of guys were getting loose. Is you could definitely keep the power down, but I mean it was a big risk of stepping the back end of the car out.
Well, certainly, you had a great drive out there. We had those couple cautions that kind of came close to each other there towards the first third of the event. Did those cautions change your pit strategy at all, or did you kind of have a pre-planned one going into the drop of the green flag today?
Yeah, at first it's kind of, just keep track position, stay out front. Fall off in these isn't huge, like the older cars. It seems like the older Cup car fell off pretty quick. It fell off throughout the run, but I mean, nothing drastic right off. So, just hoping to get to green flag stops.
Well, you certainly did a great job out there. Anybody that you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before we let you go for the night?
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out to David for putting this on. Great cause. Uh, you know, pretty personal to me. Mother struggled with colon cancer and stuff years ago, so definitely something that hits home. All the guys at Martin Sports, and everything they do for me. Anyone looking for some sim racing gloves, jerseys, anything, check them out over at martinsports906.com. Guys at Moonlight Setup Shop. And you guys are putting this on.
Well, congratulations on a great win, great finish today. You certainly were the class of the field, and it was a pleasure to watch that and call that for you. So look forward to seeing you in more events in the future, and thank you so much for turning out tonight and giving us a great run to watch.
Appreciate it all, guys.
All right, and we are going to bring in with us our third place finisher, David Smith. David, looked like everybody was struggling a bit at times on track today. You had a bit of an issues early on in the race, but were certainly able to get that turned around. How did that feel for you out there today?
Yeah, like Matt said, that I didn't have much practice either. I tried to simulate the best I could yesterday. Yeah, early on it was really 4 and 2 both, just sliding off. And once I wrecked, I was like, all right, refocused and just hit my marks, and that's what I was able to do there at the end.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you were picking up pace as the race went on. Did that long green flag run after the third caution help you kind of get settled in and find a little bit more of a groove and consistently hit some lines tonight?
Definitely, yeah. I feel like that this racetrack, for me anyway, was a momentum racetrack. Like you had to find your groove, and it took a little while, but yeah, as soon as you got over and over and over again, I was able to hit it and made up some time.
Did you have any kind of change of pit strategy once you had those on track incidents early on in the race, or did you kind of stick to what you had pre planned coming into the event?
My only plan was not to embarrass myself. It's my first charity event, so thank you, David, for putting this on. This was fun. Yeah, so I mean, when I had to pit early after wrecking off a four, they kind of just ran it to pretty much empty and pitted, and that helped me with fresher tires than some of them who had to pit before me. That helped.
Well, yeah, you certainly looked like you did a good job learning it and getting it under control. Great third place finish tonight. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a big thank you to before we let you go for the night?
Just David for putting this on. I don't have any really affiliates. I'm a new streamer, so this was fun to be able to do. So thank you, David, for putting this on, and I hope he does more charity events that I can be a part of.
Well, again, congratulations on a great third place finish tonight. It was awesome to watch and certainly made for a very entertaining race for everybody out there. Look forward to seeing you more in events and wish you the best of luck, David.
Thank you very much.
All right, so with that, that is going to close out our event for the evening. Again, pull up the results as you can see. Matt Lee bringing it home with the big win in first place. Art Greco in the 72 able to bring his way home in second. David Smith in the 4 able to bring it home in third. Michael McElroy in the number 2 Dynaco Ford Mustang able to bring it home fourth. Brandon Richard 19 moving his way up to fifth place after some issues middle of the race. Wirt Sema in the 15, the motor issues finishing sixth. Stryker bringing it home in seventh in the number 3 Colorectal Cancer Alliance. Ford Mustang, Joshua McQuiggan with some issues as well, bringing it home in eighth place, and Patrick McConnell the 66, finishing 9th. Again, want to thank all of you that were able to tune in for this event tonight. Please, as David said, the donation link will be valid for the next 30 days. Any help that you can give would be greatly appreciated. Feel free to share that with all your friends, family, anybody else you know. It's a great cause, great charity. Would love to see as much help as we can get to them. Spread the word through this as well. Sure, in any form, we would greatly appreciate that. Again, it's a very worthy cause that would love to help as much as possible. And if you ever want to get involved in any of these going forward, as David said, feel free to look StykerRacing up on Discord, send them a message, find out how you can get involved both either in a racing capacity or any other kind of capacity. Any help would always be greatly appreciated. With that, we are going to say good night for the evening. My name, again, is Jake Fescannon with Team Goon Squad, and we appreciate you giving us the opportunity to present this to you and look forward to seeing you here for more events to come. Thanks and have a good night.